Welcome to The Clean Slate with your hosts, Daniel Garza and Carson Phillips, providing you with movie news, reviews, and more. Sit back, relax, and don't forget to go to the concessions to get your popcorn and drinks. For your entertainment, this is The Clean Slate Podcast.
Welcome back to The Clean Slate Podcast. I'm your host, Carson Phillips, here with Daniel Garza, and today we're going to get a close shave as we continue Musical March.
That was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Okay, guys.
That was top of the dome.
So we are watching Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, and if you don't know, we are doing Musical March this month. So we got a bunch of musicals, well, a couple of musicals to go. One very famous favorite pandering musical that is going to be for you guys later on in the month. But here we go with Sweeney Todd. Here's the logline. The legendary tale of a barber who returns from wrongful imprisonment to 1840s London, bent on revenge for the rape and death of his wife, and resumes his trade while forming a sinister partnership with his fellow tenant, Mrs. Lovett. It's kind of funny that they are specific with Lovett in that, like, instead of just leaving it with his fellow tenant.
I could see why people aren't as hyped up on this movie compared to, something like Wicked.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, I'll dive into the plot a little bit more, but it really is a typical revenge story, but the twist is he's a barber. They end up installing like a trap door to get rid of the bodies after he kills them. And there's also this subplot of him trying to like get back his daughter who's being raised by the person who assaulted and murdered his wife. So there's kind of that angle as well. I feel like there's really not much more to explain. Like that's the general premise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
It is Tim Burton, though, so that's something worth noting. And it's also Johnny Depp, so that's also worth. And it has like half the cast of, if you've seen any Tim Burton movie or if you've seen Harry Potter, it's all the same cast members.
Or you also got Helena Carter, or Bonham Carter, and Sacha Baron Cohen, who are pretty famous in Les Mis as well. So I feel like this was their audition tape for Les Mis, because they both play funny enough. They both play like it's the master of the house, kind of deal.
Similar kind of characters.
Yeah, so we got Johnny Depp, Alan Rickman. We got those two as well, and a couple other I would say good characters. But overall, this movie has a pretty decent cast, and I think it follows the story of Sweeney Todd, the original, pretty well. With just like it's like it almost goes more demented because it's Tim Burton. And to be honest, when I saw that it was Tim Burton, I was like, oh man, it's gonna be like a PG-13 movie. They're not gonna go full rated R. Until the first death that I saw, I was like, oh god, they went full on.
And it gets progressively more like intense as you watch the movie. Like towards the end, I'm like, this is like a horror film, which I guess it should be. I used to be scared of this movie as a kid. I never seen it before. Alyssa likes it because she loves Tim Burton's movies. But it was kind of funny because I remember as a kid seeing the poster and being like, there's no way I'd ever watch that movie.
Or be allowed to watch it.
Too.
Okay, cool. So
look at me now, Mom.
Right, yeah. Just a funny story. So the most that I knew about Sweeney Todd, like I obviously knew the story of Sweeney Todd, like, that he's a murdering barber. But the entire time I just kept thinking during this movie is in The Office, Andy, he auditions for the play of Sweeney Todd and he gets the role. And it's just this whole episode of, The Office things going on with Sweeney Todd kind of in the background. So I was familiar with some of the songs, actually, like the Joanna song or the main song, Demon Barber of Fleet Street, and some of those other ones. Yeah. But I was just like laughing kind of the entire time. It's just a hoot and holler, but that's my only real relationship with Sweeney Todd. So now let's get into our likes and dislikes.
First of all, likes. I like that this is really, it's a musical for adults. Like this is not like, I feel like musicals are typically geared something that you could watch with a good, geared towards a whole family. Maybe not kids all the time, but like even like Les Mis, I remember watching that on Christmas Day with my whole family. Like, so this is definitely an older audience for sure, mainly because of the gore, but I think that's just kind of a cool thing to have.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that before, and I'm kind of curious if there's more musicals like that. I think Johnny Depp does a great job. I mean, it's really no surprise. He's a good actor. I don't know about his singing voice. I'm a little iffy on that, but his performance is good. Seeing Alan Rickman's always great. Like this whole cast, I think I just like. I know. Well, I just like seeing this whole cast interact too, like this typical Tim Burton cast. Like it's just kind of fun. Movies like this don't really get made anymore. His whole crew. Yeah. But yeah, so those are kind of the highlights. And some of the music's good. Some of it I could really care less about. It's just there to serve the plot, in my opinion. But overall, I think it's a decent revenge story. I think we were just talking about the ending. I don't want to spoil it at all, but I was surprised by it. But also, yeah, it's a great ending too. Yeah. Like I think it's the way it should have ended. And it's just cool, to see this. Who did the music for this? Do you know?
So
like the OG.
Oh, the OG music? No, I don't know.
Was it Soundheim or something?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
But yeah, I really enjoyed all those. Sondheim or something.
He also did the music for the movie.
He did a ton of stuff though. But yeah, so I enjoyed this movie, and then it definitely has that Tim Burton gothic vibe to the max. Like if you are like, man, I wish there was a musical version of Nosferatu. This is close, I guess. That's good. And yeah, I really think the visuals and the performances are what I enjoyed the most.
Yeah,
of this one.
for sure. I will say I think the music. Sometimes with musicals, it's very, very iffy for me. Like I don't know if I'm ever gonna love a musical. Like especially because I like liking musicals through and through. Like I like every song to be a hit, and I'm very particular when it comes to music. So when it comes to musicals, and also both of us being musicians, it's like sometimes musicals can be really, really good, or sometimes they could just fall flat. Hence why I think Greatest Showman is good, because every song is good in that song or in that movie. But then you get musicals like I don't know. I'm trying to think of another one that I just like genuinely don't like because of some of the songs, like Dear Evan Hansen. Dear Evan Hansen has like 3 or 4 good songs, but the rest of them are kind of like, oh my gosh, this didn't need to be a song. And
like a drag.
Yeah, exactly. So I really liked most of the music in this movie, except for the Joanna song. I can't stand that song.
What? That's one of the better ones.
I know it's like one of the most popular ones, but I could not stand it. For me, like if we get technical here, it's the I feel you, Joanna. I hate songs that like whine like that.
Oh, okay. But I kind of feel like that fits the vibe of this movie because it's like this Victorian, like gloomy kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I just don't like whiny songs. And I would never listen to that song like says
an emo boy at heart.
Right, but well, never mind. Anyway, okay. So that was really cool. I think all the acting was literally superb, like so cool. And then a lot of the shots too at the very beginning, there's a shot sequence that I just fell in love with. It's like when he first gets off the boat and he's just like zooming through the city and all. I was just like, "Oh my gosh." It's like you feel the tension and all of that building. You feel like the evilness. And I think this movie does a really cool version because he's kind of like an anti-hero, right? He has a reason that he wants to start doing this.
You kind of root for
him.
But
at the end of the day, too, he's still a villain. And at the end of it, you're like, I mean, at least for me, I was like, good. I'm kind of happy what happened to him happened because he's not a good guy.
No, exactly. He doesn't deserve happiness.
Exactly. So,
also... I don't know why this reminded me, but I was looking up, like, what does Sweeney Todd even come from? But apparently he was, like, something people would read about his adventures or his stories in, like, actual Victorian London. It was, like pulp, in magazine or, I guess, news articles or whatever. Like, stories, and they'd read it and stuff. So this was, like, an old story. I don't know how much of it comes from that OG source material, but it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Okay, so let's move on to our dislikes now. What did you not like about this movie?
Yeah, so I know we talked about how the music, some of it was pretty good. Sometimes the music took me out of the plot, though, which musicals do that to me sometimes, where it feels like, oh, we're going to force this musical number into this scene instead of the musical number being a part of the scene, I guess. I can't think of which song did this. Oh, okay. Here's an example. The one where it's him and the girl like fantasizing about getting married, basically, in like their perfect world and all that stuff. That didn't really add to the plot for me. Like, we kind of know that's obviously what she wants, and like, I don't know, it just didn't feel like it meshed well, in my opinion. And the tone is a little odd, but I think that might just be Tim Burton, to be honest. So I don't know.
You're saying the tone of the movie in general, or the tone of
in general?
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah,
you know, sometimes like a Tim Burton movie, especially with his like style, sometimes it can get pretty exhausting.
It's definitely style over substance most of the time.
Yeah, yes. I don't think I felt that way entirely about this one, but
not this one. But I'm saying like his like filmography in general lends
exactly.
that way.
So I agree with you on that. Did you have any more dislikes before I get into mine?
No, that's really it. Like, I think this is a fun movie. I wish I'd seen it sooner. It's a good time.
For sure. I think I do kind of agree with you on that, but I would say my biggest dislike, and it's a very small minor critique, is Johnny Depp's singing. Not his voice. I think his voice is fine, but it's more of his facial structure when he's singing. Like, I don't know why, but I just kept getting locked into his lips every time he was singing the song, and they were doing the most weird thing. I didn't
him the whole time,
but he was like this. He's just like look at my lips. Oh my God, will you look?
I literally can't see them.
Wait, can you not see me at all?
I can barely see you.
Like this. He would be like,
okay, now go.
Like, it's just.
Oh yeah.
It was really weird, and it kept taking me out of like everything that when he was singing would do. But
what about the song omissions? I know that bothered you. One of them bothered you, but I think there's more than one that was omitted, right?
Oh yes. So the main one for me is the Demon Barber of Fleet Street song, is like the biggest song. I'm pretty sure it's how the show starts. Like the actual
like an overture in this instead.
Yeah,
right?
and it's just like, so the music in it is beautiful, but I was really, really upset that they didn't actually add in the song into this movie. And it's just because it's one of my favorite songs from Sweeney Todd's, like the musical. And when it wasn't in there, I mean, still, again, it was a beautiful song to have played throughout the movie. But to not put it in there, I was just like, man, that is
at least, like, at the
criminal.
end even, maybe.
Like, exactly. Like,
yeah, I don't know the songs, but I think it's weird that they left out. It sounds like they left out multiple songs. Sure. So I find that kind of strange.
Well, you know, you kind of got to sometimes in terms of like,
time.
So, or also just maybe sometimes the story that they tell, they switch it up a bit. But yeah, overall, I mean, I think this movie is a solid 8 out of 10 for me. 4 out of 5 maybe.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this movie, though.
So good.
I don't know. It was good. And that final, I don't want to spoil anything, but the last person he takes out, I was like, oh, that was so satisfying to see.
Yeah. I mean, I saw that ending coming from a mile away.
No, of course it's going to happen.
No. The twist ending.
Oh, the final part. Yeah.
That's where I was just like, yeah. But this movie in general, I mean, it's so good. Every actor really sends it here. And, I mean, you just... If you're into the space of, like, not horror, but, like, creepy, villainous,
you'd probably
be into it. So, I mean, any other thoughts before we close out?
No, that's pretty much it. But, like, yeah, this movie's solid for sure.
All right, cool. Well, guys, thank you for stopping by. Again, we have 2 more musicals this month that we're going to be covering. We have this one 70s musical called Tommy that we will discuss next week. And then we have Wicked.
Ooh.
We wanted to save Wicked for Musical March. So we're going to get it this time. And, we're just going to explore both of those movies. But, guys, if you haven't, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We're on every platform where you can listen to a podcast as well. But why would you listen to a podcast when you can look at us? I mean, it's more fun.
Yeah, beautiful. Maybe they're like,
no, I just want to
turn my phone off. Actually.
Anyway, guys, so go like, subscribe, comment, share, all those things, and we will see you next week for another episode.
That's a clean slate.